Mary is a college student, and she's late for class. That's why she runs down the hallway and bumps into a skateboarder. She hits her head and forgets what class she was running to. Mary remembers just 3 things. This class is taught by a redhead professor. She has to go upstairs, and she already attended economics and philosophy classes today. Can you help her find the correct classroom? There are 4 redhead professors in this college, but we can exclude those whose classrooms are on the ground floor. Although this gentleman is on the first floor, he teaches economics, so he doesn't fit either. Meanwhile, the math teacher matches the requirements perfectly, so Mary should go up to the second floor. Mary's walking down the street after classes. Suddenly, a car stops in front of her and someone kidnaps her. Mary wakes up in a dusty basement. The door is not locked, but it's guarded by a creepy guy. She looks around and finds 3 pills: red, green, and blue. Each pill will give her one specific superpower for 10 seconds. The red pill gives the power of super speed. The blue pill will make her invisible. And the green one will make Mary fly. Which pill should she choose to escape? Mary should choose the invisibility pill. The guard will not be able to catch her if he's not aware that she's running away. The next day, Mary goes to college and faces amazing news. Her friend Bill succeeded in making clones of some students. But unfortunately, now he cannot tell clones from real people. Can you help him? Let's take a closer look at the second lady's eyes and the third lady's ears. These 2 individuals are definitely clones. What about these guys? Can you sort out all the clones? Both of the palms of the second guy are right, and the third one has weird wires in his arm. So only the first guy is a human. Let's see if you can spot clones here. The first and the third guys are too suspicious for regular human beings. Mary is visiting her granny, who lives on a farm and grows vegetables. But Granny is very upset because someone stole the largest pumpkin from her garden the other night. She suspects one of her neighbors. Mary decides to question them. Olivia says, "My pumpkins are way better than your granny's. Why would I steal from her?" Sam says, "I was on a business trip the other night, so I didn't see anything. I'm not a huge fan of vegetables, that's why I don't grow them." And Tom says, "Your granny is bothering me with small talk all the time, so I avoid visiting her farm at all costs." Can you help Mary spot the thief? It was Sam. He has a scarecrow with a big pumpkin head. Granny goes to sleep early, and Mary decides to watch TV. Breaking news! A dangerous criminal ran away from a nearby prison and now creeps around the village. Suddenly, Mary hears someone knocking on the door. She opens and faces 2 ladies who introduce themselves as Mary's neighbors. Both ladies are baking cakes separately. Sarah is asking for a cup of sugar, and Sheila would like to borrow a cup of milk. But only one of them is safe to invite over. Can you guess who? Both ladies are wearing clothes with red stains. They might have stained it while making their cakes. But Sarah has a real axe hidden in her boot, so she must be the runaway criminal from the news. Mary is looking through Granny's old stuff and finds 3 spooky pictures. Only one of these ladies is a real human being. Can you guess who? The first lady is a real mermaid. Take a closer look at her neck. She has gills and she breathes underwater, so we can exclude her. The third lady has vampire ears and red eyes, but who knows, maybe it's just a costume. Meanwhile, the second lady is hanging on a transparent rope, so she's just pretending to be flying. And since we know there's only one human among these ladies, we can conclude that it's the second lady. Mary finds two similar pictures of her granny. Can you spot three differences between them? Here they are. Later that night, Mary receives a video call from her grandpa. He's working on a space station. Grandpa tells Mary sad news.
Tonight, someone from my team stole all the seeds from the local Martian kiwi. It took me a year to obtain them. I'd like to find the one who did it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it'll take years to find new seeds.
Mary takes a brief look at the crew and spots the thief right away. What about you? In her user picture, Lily doesn't have any moles on her face. Seems like these spots are the kiwi seeds that she's decided to hide in plain sight. Mary goes to the local shopping mall and sees these three guys. One of them is going on a date tonight. Can you guess who? It must be the third guy. He's hiding a small wrapped gift, probably for his date. Mary enters a clothing store, looks around, and spots four odd details. Have you noticed them too? The mannequin has 6 fingers on one of her hands. The ceiling fan is not connected to any wires, but it works. The lady is eating ice cream near the cashmere sweaters, but there's a sign at the entrance forbidding customers from entering with food, and the sales lady is walking barefoot. Mary continues her shopping and finds something very curious. It has a head and a tail that will never meet. Having too many of them is always a treat. What is it? It's a coin. Mary purchases something that helps you from your head to your toe, but the more it works, the smaller it grows. Can you guess what it is? It's a bar of soap. Mary gets out of the shopping mall and walks to the parking lot. She approaches her car and sees that someone had written a couple of words on her windshield. Mary finds 3 suspects and questions them. Chelsea says, "I'm sorry, but I didn't see anything. I was too busy with my shopping bags." Peter says, "I've just parked my car nearby. Your windshield was already signed when I arrived there." And Alice says, "Wow, lady, you're still very lucky. Take a look at my car. Someone scratched it while I was in the supermarket." Who's guilty? Chelsea. Take a look at her lipstick color. It's purple, just like the inscription on Mary's car. Mary wants to take her car to the nearest car wash. Chelsea offers to pay for the cleaning if Mary manages to crack her riddle. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? Ready to hear the correct answer? Footsteps. The weekend is over and Mary leaves Granny for college. She enters the dorm and finds a huge bouquet of roses on her bed. There's no card, so Mary has no idea who's her secret admirer. Mary questions 3 suspects, but each denies their involvement. Bill says, "I'm too broke. I can't afford to buy such an expensive gift." Paul says, "I have a girlfriend. I give flowers to her only." And Dave says, "Why would I get roses or anything else? You didn't reply to messages." Who brought the flowers? Bill. He has a few rose petals left under his bed. Mary goes to the local library. Oh no, the door is locked. Someone changed the 9-digit password, but luckily, Mary finds a note with a hint. 3, 1, 2, 9, 4, 7. Can you help her figure out the new code to open the door? She should literally press 3 1s, 2 9s, and 4 7s. Finally, Mary enters the library, but she yells and runs away in fear. Can you guess why? Take a look at the flower pots. There's a greenish snake crawling around one of the plants.
Emma and Carla are working out in a gym. One of them isn't being careful enough. Who is it? It's Carla. Look, she's doing exercises while chewing gum. She could accidentally choke on it. Look at Matt and Olivia. They're both cooking dinner. Matt is using a stove and Olivia is using a grill outside. Which of them is doing something wrong? It's Matt. He forgot to turn the stove on. Noor was a married man, and his wife had a twin sister. One day, the twins decided to trick him. They both pretended to be his wife to see if he'd find the right person. Unfortunately, Noor got way too confused. Can you find his real wife? Look at the wedding picture of Noor and his wife. She has a tattoo on her right arm, so his wife must be the woman on the left who also has a tattoo on her right arm. Willem and Sean were caught by the police close to the graffiti that had just appeared on a building. One of them painted it, but both denied doing anything. Who do you think is lying? It was Willem. Look, there's some paint on her hands and shirt. Drake and Thor are both on vacation. Drake is skiing in the mountains with his girlfriend, and Thor is surfing with his best friend. Look at them now. Which one of them is in danger? Drake! He's screaming in the mountains. It's not safe because it can cause an avalanche. Now, let's find some pet owners. For example, look at these 3 girls. Can you figure out who the cat belongs to? Its owner is the girl on the right. Look at her legs and hands. She has some scratches, very typical for cat owners. Now, there are 3 people sitting in the park. See that dog playing there? Who does it belong to? To the guy in the middle. Look, he has a leash. These guys, Ian, Noah, and Luke, are basketball players. They're getting ready for the game in the changing room. Which of them is Noah? It must be this guy, the one who's not wearing shoes. Look, his shoes are in the locker with the name tag Noah. Esme was walking in the forest and got lost. She had been wandering for hours until she came across a witch's house. The witch was busy with a new spell and had a riddle for Esme. If the girl managed to solve it, the witch would let her go. If Esme failed, she'd have to stay with the witch forever. So the witch had 6 test tubes. The first 3 were empty, and the last 3 were full. For the spell, full and empty tubes had to alternate. Esme had to solve this problem, but she could only touch one tube. How can she do it? Esme should take the 5th tube and pour the liquid from it into the second one. A bank was robbed on a Friday evening. There were no customers and no signs of a break-in, which meant it was one of the bank employees. The robbery was discovered by the bank director, Mr. Perry. There were 3 main suspects, Miss Cott, Mr. Mendez, and Miss Morgan. All of them denied being anywhere close to the safe, but one of them lied. Who was it? Pay attention to the footprints. These must belong to Mr. Perry, but there's another pair which must be heels. Mr. Mendez is wearing sneakers and Miss Morgan is wearing flats. Miss Cott is the only one wearing heels. The footprints are likely to be hers, so she lied. Mrs. Nichols has 4 daughters and a son. The oldest daughter's name is April. She's an artist. The second daughter is December. She's into sports. Her third daughter is August, and she's keen on cooking. May is the 4th one, and she likes reading. Their brother Adam is the youngest in the family. How is his name connected to his sisters? The first letters of the girls' names make up the name Adam. Another family riddle for you. Ava is Bella's sister, Bella is Ella's sister, and Ella is Ruby's mother. Who is Ruby for Ava? If Ava is Bella's sister and Bella is Ella's sister, it seems like the 3 of them are sisters. Since Ruby is Ella's daughter, then both Ava and Bella are Ruby's aunts. So Ruby is Ava's niece. Take a look at these friends at the beach. Which of them is a robot? It must be this girl. Look, it's very hot outside and everyone is sweating, except her. That's kind of odd. The police also broke into 3 apartments. In one of them, a robot lives. Can you guess where? Look, there's a lot of machine oil in the bathroom. I'll bet it belongs to the robot. What about this photo? Can you spot a robot here? It's summer and everyone is wearing shorts and tops, except for this guy. He's wearing long pants, a long-sleeve shirt, and even gloves. He must be hiding his body. I'd say it's him. Here's a photo of people sitting in a cafe. Can you spot a robot here? It must be this lady, since she's not drinking or eating anything. Guess why? Well, robots can't eat human food, obviously. Another peek into some people's houses. One room belongs to a robot, but which one? It must be this one. Look, there's a whole bunch of bolts and spare parts in the wardrobe. Have a look at this group of friends. Can you tell which of them is a robot? It must be this guy. There's some steam and sparks coming from it. Perhaps it's a robot that needs some renovations. Aiko has won a game show, and she can finally get her prize. But there's a catch, one last task. There are 3 boxes, and she can pick one to take with her. One box is filled with $100 bills, another box contains 5-cent coins, and the last box has both bills and coins. The boxes look exactly the same, and the girl can't touch any of them. The boxes have labels: bills on the left one, coins in the middle one, and bills and coins on the right one. All the boxes are labeled wrong. Aiko can't look inside any of the boxes, but she can ask for one sample from any box. What should Aiko's strategy be to identify the box filled with bills only? Since all the boxes are labeled wrong, Aiko should ask for a sample from the bills and coins box. If there's a bill there, then that's the one she needs. She should simply take it. If there's a coin, then it's the box with coins. In that case, the remaining boxes contain bills and bills with coins. And since the labels are incorrect, the one with bills is the one marked with the label coins. The day that is tomorrow for the day after tomorrow is as far away from Wednesday as the day that is yesterday for the day before yesterday. So, what day is it today? The tomorrow for the day after tomorrow and the yesterday for the day before yesterday are exactly 3 days away from today. If they're equally far away from Wednesday, then today is Wednesday. Meadow loved animals, and she decided to get some frogs. She talked to her mom about it, and they made a decision. Only one of these 3 statements is correct. 1. Meadow got at least 1 frog. 2. Meadow got at least 5 frogs. 3. Meadow got fewer than 5 frogs. How many frogs did Meadow get? So, only one statement is correct. If it's the first one, then the other 2 must be wrong. In this case, she can't get 5 or more frogs, so it doesn't work. If the second statement is correct, then she has at least 5 frogs. But then the first statement is automatically correct too. Let's say the third statement is correct, so she got fewer than 5 frogs. Automatically, the second statement is wrong. But for the first statement to be wrong too, she should have got fewer than 1 frog. So it seems that, after talking to her mom, Meadow got 0 frogs. Maybe instead, her mom got her a dog, which would at least rhyme.
Detective Tina received an emergency call from the local museum. Someone had stolen an exclusive scarab brooch from ancient Egypt. First of all, Tina checked all security cameras. This is what she found. Can you spot the thief just by looking at these 2 pictures? See this guy? He's holding an open paper cup in the first image, but in the second image, the cup has a lid. The guy hid the stolen brooch in his paper cup. Detective Tina hurried to the crime scene. When the brooch disappeared, the museum security system locked all visitors inside the building. But the guards didn't find the suspected person among the visitors. How did he escape? Have you guessed? Take a look up at the ceiling. See the shoe prints on the statue? The thief climbed this sculpture and escaped through the window on the roof. Tina went to the roof to search for some clues. Can you see any? The thief left the cup on the roof. There's a coffee shop name written on it. Bright Cup. Tina can visit this place and check the security cameras. Tina arrived at the coffee shop, located just nearby the museum. Unfortunately, they didn't have security cameras, so Tina questioned the staff. Kelly, the barista, said, "Sorry, I don't know this guy. I'm just trying to do my job." Mike, the manager, said, "This face looks familiar, but I'm not sure where I saw him." And Phil, the guard, said,
Sorry, never saw him. You can trust me. I have a perfect memory for faces.
Tina knew for sure that one of them had lied. Can you spot who exactly? Kelly, look at her iPad. There's an incoming call from her boyfriend. Take a closer look at the contact photo. It's our thief. Therefore, Kelly is an accomplice in the crime. Tina told Kelly, "I'm afraid we should continue this conversation at the police station." But Kelly ran away through the backyard. Tina followed her and ended up in a dark basement. She got lost and found these 3 cages. The first cage is covered with fire. There are huge ice cubes all over the second cage, and the third cage is full of venomous scorpions. Tina has to choose one of them to get to the surface. Can you help her choose the safest option? The cage with the ice cubes. She can get cold, but it's still safer than the other 2 cages. The police caught Kelly and brought her to the station. During interrogation, Kelly told Tina 4 facts. First of all, this guy's name is Alex. Secondly, he's my ex-boyfriend. We don't get along anymore. We went to the same college and met in history class. And finally, I don't know why he'd stolen this stupid brooch. One of the facts is false. Can you guess which one? The 4th one. Look at Kelly's tattoo. It's identical to the stolen brooch. She definitely knows something about the stolen item. Kelly confessed that the thief might be hiding in an abandoned castle site outside the city. Tina went to check it out. But anyone who wants to reach the castle should go through this tangled maze. Can you tell which one of these 4 paths will bring Tina to the castle? The first path leads to the pond with crocodiles. The third one leads nowhere. And the 4th way goes back to the beginning. So Tina should choose the second path. Tina entered the castle and saw a room full of ancient artifacts. She spotted the thief right away. What about you? Can you see him? This mummy is holding a cell phone. Alex ran away to the basement and Tina followed him. Unfortunately, the door behind her slammed shut and she got stuck. Can you help her break the code to escape? A calendar on the door says, "You force heaven to be empty." If you read the sentence again, you're going to hear a 7-digit code. U, 4, 7, 2, B, M, T. In the next room, Tina got stuck in another trap. The creepy voice explained, "If you press the right button, I'm going to let you go. But if you choose the wrong one, you'll stay here forever. You've only got one chance to escape. Good luck." Which button opens the lock? Have you guessed? She should pick the black button. This picture on the wall is a hint. The rainbow contains all colors except for black. Tina got out of the trap and entered a room full of old furniture. She noticed 3 odd details about this room right away. What about you? There are books in this burning fireplace, but they don't burn. Take a look at this painting on the wall. This lady's winking. And the reflection in this mirror doesn't match the room at all. Tina found Alex near these underground gates leading to an ancient underground city. He explained that the scarab brooch hid a secret key, but there are 4 different locks on the gates. The guys only have one attempt to choose the right one. Which lock should they pick? The 4th lock is the only perfect match for this key. The guys opened the gates and entered the city. Alex had a map, so he ran away to find the treasures and left Tina alone. She looked around and noticed a 3-way road pointing to the north, west, and east. Tina didn't know where to go. Suddenly, she saw a lady. The local citizens always reply truthfully, but they answer only one question if they're talking to a stranger. What should Tina ask to figure out the right direction? She should ask, if the right direction is not the east, is it west? Here's why. There are 3 possible answers. 1. Yes, west is correct. 2. No, east is the right direction. 3. Neither one nor the other. Tina should go north. Or, Tina might just ask the name of this lady and then introduce herself. This way, they won't be strangers anymore, and Tina would be able to ask as many questions as she needed. Tina went north and finally found the entrance to a cave with treasures, but the door has a combination lock. Can you help Tina figure out the code? Take a look at these figures. The number corresponds to the sum of intersection points. Therefore, she needs to calculate the number of points in the last figure. And voila! The 4-digit code is solved. Inside the caves, Tina met a dragon. It said,
I'm gonna let you in if you can crack my riddle. I'm gonna let you in if you can crack my riddle. I'm quite hot, but if you remove the first 2 letters, I become too cold. What am I?
Have you guessed? The correct answer is spice. When we take away the first 2 letters, it turns into ice. To find the treasures, Tina has to walk through this round maze. She only has 10 seconds to choose the correct way. Can you help her out? Here's the easiest way. Tina found 3 doors in the center of the labyrinth. Each door leads to treasures. But each way also hides some danger. The first path is filled with poisonous gas. There are thousands of toads and bugs behind the second door. They crawl all over the floor and walls. And a hungry lion is hiding behind the third door. Which way should Tina choose? The second way. Although bugs and toads can be gross, they're not dangerous. Tina took the treasures and headed home. Suddenly, she met Alex. Tina decided to trick him and offered him a deal. If you manage to solve my puzzle, I'm going to give you 100% of the treasures. But if you fail, you'll get nothing and go to jail. Here's the riddle. Move just 1 match to point this giraffe in a different direction. Alex failed to crack this riddle. What about you? Here's the correct answer. Pretty easy, huh?
So Mia wanted to go to the party her classmate was throwing, but her father didn't let her. Mia thought for a while and remembered her grandparents had just moved to their new 1-story country house. She asked her dad if she could visit them at the weekend, and the man agreed. But Mia went to the party instead. When she got back home after the weekend, her father asked her if she had had a good time. Mia replied she helped in the garden a little and spent the rest of the day upstairs. Her father immediately knew she was lying. How? Mia said she'd been upstairs, but her grandparents' house is a one-story cottage. Liar, liar, pants on fire. 11 plus 3 equals 2. 10 plus 5 equals 3. Now how is that possible? It makes sense when we talk about time. 11 o'clock plus 3 hours is 2 o'clock. 10 o'clock plus 5 hours is 3 o'clock. One king wants to find out which of his 3 sons is the smartest. He takes 3 chests and puts his crown in one of them. On each chest there's a statement, but only one of these statements is true. The crown is in this chest. The crown isn't in this chest. The crown isn't in chest number 1. Each person can only open one chest. The son who figures out where the crown is will be the next king. But can you solve this riddle? If the first statement is true, the other 2 must be false. It's not so because the second statement turns out to be correct, so this assumption's wrong. If the second statement is true, the crown isn't in the first chest. It's not in the second chest either. Then it must be in the third one. But this makes the third statement correct, although it shouldn't be. If the third statement is true, the first one's wrong and there's no crown in the first chest. The second statement's also wrong. Now there are no contradictions. The crown's in the second chest. Here's a sequence of letters. Which letter should you add? The missing letter is F. If you put it at the end, you'll get E. James and Taylor were best friends in elementary school. Unfortunately, when the children were 10, James and his parents moved to another state. The friends lost contact. 15 years later, James and Taylor accidentally bumped into each other in a cafe. It was their first meeting since school. They recognized each other and started talking. It turned out Taylor was already married and had a daughter. "Wow," said James, "does she look like her dad?" "Oh no," Taylor said, "the girl's a mini version of her mother." "Ah, so she must be a blonde with blue eyes." This time, James was right. How did he understand that? Taylor's a girl. She's the mother, and James only needed to describe her. You're outside a room with 3 switches in the off position. Your task is to find out which one turns on the light in the room. You can flip as many switches as you want, but you can walk into the room and check if the light's on only once. How can you understand which switch controls the light bulb? Turn on 2 random switches and wait for a couple of minutes. Then, turn one of them off and walk into the room. If the light's on, the switch connected to the bulb is the one you left in the on position. If the room's dark, touch the light bulb. If it's hot, then the controlling switch is the one you just turned off. If the light bulb is cold, the correct switch is the only one you haven't touched. Esme got lost in the forest. She was wandering around for the whole day. Finally, at dusk, she saw a spooky house. A witch lived there. The girl had nowhere else to go, so she entered the house and asked for help. The witch said if Esme solved her riddle, she'd be free to leave in the morning. Here's how the riddle went. 17J, 70M, 96A, 162J, 256S, 354, what's the missing letter? The 17th day of the year is in January. The 70th day of the year is in March, the 96th is in April, the 162nd in June, and the day 256 is in September. Day 354 is in December. The missing letter is D. A young girl got her first job as a maid in a rich lady's house. Once, when she was tidying up, she noticed a very expensive collection of books. She made a break to look through one of them and then returned it to the shelf. The girl kept working until the very evening. No one else was at home. After finishing her work, the maid returned to the shelf and discovered that the sixth book was missing. But she clearly remembered that the book had been there before. It was the one she had been looking through. When the lady returned, the girl confessed she'd lost the book. But the woman only laughed and said everything was fine. Nothing was missing. How come? The collection had 8 books. The 9th book was actually the 6th one. The girl accidentally put it upside down. Right before Christmas, the police got information that a famous thief named Alfonso had left Chile. He boarded the plane to Los Angeles. The only thing the detectives knew about the man was that he had a beard. At the airport, the police officers met a group of people. They had just arrived from different countries. The detectives noticed 4 men with beards and interrogated them. The first one said he'd come from London. The second told the police he arrived from Chile, but his name was Cristiano. The third man answered he'd come from Sweden, and the fourth one was also from London. The police didn't even need to check their plane tickets to spot the criminal. How did they know? It's Christmas time, but the man who supposedly came from Sweden is dressed too lightly for that climate. He must have arrived from Chile, where it's summer. A road accident happened on a foggy day. 2 drivers were taken to a hospital. Each of them had a concussion. Interestingly, their cars didn't even have a scratch. What happened? The drivers were going in opposite directions. It was foggy, so they stuck their heads out of the window. They didn't notice each other and hit their heads. Ow! Samantha was born on January 27th. For the first 20 years of her life, she celebrated her birthday in the winter. But starting with her 21st birthday, she began celebrating it in the summer. Why? She moved to the southern hemisphere, where it's summer in January. 2 sisters, Ava and Nicole, are very honest girls. They always tell the truth, except for one day a year. On their birthdays, they always lie. Today is September 17th, and you ask them when their birthdays are. Ava says hers was yesterday, and Nicole says her birthday is tomorrow. The next day, you ask them again, and they say the exact same thing. Can you guess when their birthdays are? They can't have 2 birthdays. It means that one day one of them lied, and the next day it was the other's turn. Since Ava mentioned yesterday, her birthday must come first. So Ava's birthday is on September 17th, and Nicole's on September 18th. Bethany, Tommy, Eliza, and James spent the whole day at home alone. Their mother didn't let them enter her room. When she came back in the evening, she wanted to eat her chocolate bar, but it was gone. She went downstairs and asked the kids who had eaten her treat. Bethany said she'd been doing her algebra homework the whole day and hadn't eaten anything at all. Tommy replied he had been playing football outside. Eliza said she didn't even know where their mom kept chocolate. And James simply claimed it hadn't been him. Their mom knew immediately who had taken her chocolate. How did she figure it out? It was Eliza. The The mother never mentioned what kind of treat was missing, but Eliza somehow knew it was chocolate. The father of identical quadruplets, Aurora, Belle, Chloe, and Dana, called the teacher and asked her to let Dana leave earlier. She had a doctor's appointment. The teacher couldn't tell the girls apart. To have some fun, the quadruplets refused to confess who was who, but gave their teacher a hint. Chloe is somewhere in the middle. Dana is to the left of Belle and to the right of Aurora. Aurora is right next to Dana. How can the teacher identify the girls? Chloe is somewhere in the middle, and since Dana has someone on both sides of her, she must be in the middle too. If Chloe was the second, Dana would be the third. Then Dana would be to the left of Belle, and Belle would be the fourth. Then Aurora must be the first. But it doesn't work, because Aurora and Dana have to be next to each other. If we switch Chloe and Dana, Dana will be right next to Aurora, but still to the left of Belle. So the right order is Aurora, Dana, Chloe, and Belle. Dana's the second girl. Kyle, Kelly, and Ken are meeting at a coffee shop. Only 3 options are available at the moment: cappuccino with almond milk, iced lemon tea, and a classic latte. Each friend orders a different beverage. Kyle is allergic to coffee beans, Kelly is allergic to nuts, and Ken is allergic to cocoa. Kyle must be allergic to both latte and cappuccino, so he ordered the tea option. Kelly ordered a latte because she can't drink almond milk, and Ken took the cappuccino. Kyle offers to pay for his friend's beverages if they crack his riddle. When do we look at 1 and say 5? In a clock, when the minute hand points to 1, it means 5. Kelly tells her friends about the recent college exam. Each correct answer could win her 10 points, and each wrong answer could take away 5 points from her score. Kelly answered all the 20 questions which were given in the test. The next day got the results, and it turned out that her total score was 125 points. How many wrong answers did Kelly give? If all the 20 questions had been answered correctly, Kelly would have scored a total of 200 points. Since she only got 125 points, she lost 75 points. Now what she has to do is subtract 15 points from 200 for every wrong answer. This is because Kelly has to deduct 10 points for not scoring on that question and 5 points for answering it wrong. Therefore, Kelly answered 5 questions wrong. Ken tells Kelly and Kyle a funny story. He was going on vacation for a month, but before that, Ken went to a bank and asked for a $500 trip loan. The bank officer told Ken, "Your loan can only be approved if you leave some valuable pledge at the bank." Ken left his only car, the worth of which totals $80,000. The bank officer laughed at Ken and approved the trip loan right away. After vacation, when Ken returned, the bank officer asked him, "Are you silly? Why did you leave such an expensive car for such a small and short loan?" Ken replied, and after that, the bank officer realized that Ken wasn't silly. What did Ken reply? Ken said that he took the loan to keep his expensive car safe, and he also saved money on parking. Kelly and Kyle order similar noodles, but still there are 3 differences between them. Can you spot them? Ready to see the answer? Here they are. Ken and Kyle order almost identical desserts. Can you spot 3 differences? Over here. The next day, Kelly wins a dancing contest and gets a gold cup. She brings it to the college dorm and puts it on a shelf in her room. Later that day, she leaves for the gym. When Kelly comes back, she sees that the statue is gone. It means that one of her roommates is a thief. Kelly questions them, but they swear to have nothing to do with the theft. Shannon says, "I've been partying all day. I only returned 5 minutes ago." Mary says, "Why would I steal from you? I'm super rich. I can afford to buy a castle of gold." And Brittany says, "Ew, I'm allergic to tasteless home decor. I didn't steal it." Who's lying? Mary. Why would someone who can afford a castle live in a shared room at the college dorm? The next morning, Kelly goes to the college library. According to the local urban legend, it has a secret passage. Can you help Kelly find any clues in this area? The windows are locked, but this curtain is moving. Seems like the hidden door is nearby and a draft is blowing through it. Kelly succeeds in opening the secret door and goes downstairs. She finds herself in the middle of a creepy abandoned library section. Suddenly, she sees 3 prisoners in 3 cells. Each of them is tied differently. Can you guess who has more chances to escape? The guy in the middle. He's in chains, but they're rusty. And with the right amount of pressure, they are easy to break. Suddenly, Kelly gets into a trap. A creepy voice says, "I'll set you free if you crack my riddle." I can write cow in 13 letters. Can you? Kelly nailed it right away. How about you? Ready to learn the correct answer? C-O-W. Kelly escapes and returns to the dorm. Oh no, someone has used up her shampoo. Kelly wants to find out who did it and interrogates 3 suspects. Brittany says, "My natural blonde hair is very sensitive. I only use organic chamomile shampoo, so I didn't take yours." Shannon says, "I was too busy getting ready for exams, so I didn't wash my hair for a week." And Nina says, "I think it was Shannon. I heard her admiring the smell of your shampoo the other day." Who's lying? Take a look at Brittany's roots. She's not a natural blonde. Therefore, her story is fake. Busted! Kelly orders a new debit card and creates a 4-digit code. Your task is to figure out the code based on the following clues. Its first digit is of no use. Its second and fourth digits are mirroring each other. And the third digit is half the second. The code is 0848. 0 at the start of the number is of no use. The second and fourth digit is the mirror image of each other. The number 8 is the only digit that is the mirror image of itself. And the third digit is half the second. So, it's 4. Kelly goes to a park and gets lost. Thankfully, she meets a forester and asks for help. He replies, "I can show the way out, but first you gotta crack my riddle. So listen carefully. It comprises roots that nobody sees, much taller than those trees. Up and up it goes. Still, it never grows. What is it?" Ready to hear the answer? Mountain. Kelly goes to her favorite restaurant, Vegan Paradise. But it's closed, and the owner is calling the police. He says, "Please hurry up! Someone has attacked our chef. We took him to a hospital a couple of minutes ago. My rivals must have sent someone to ruin my business." Police officers arrive at the restaurant and find out that 3 people have been in the staff area during the accident. The first cook was cutting onions when the attack happened. He says that tears have blurred his vision and he couldn't see anything. The second cook was peeling shrimp during the accident. He says he's been listening to music through his earphones, so he didn't hear anything. The third person, a waitress, claims she's been serving beverages outside. Who's lying? The second cook attacked the chef. Because there can't be shrimp in a vegan restaurant. Kelly decides to go to another restaurant by taxi. She walks outside and faces 3 drivers, Mike, Bob, and Stephanie. Each offers Kelly a ride, but only one of them is trustworthy. Can you figure out who? Mike is wearing a gold bracelet with the name Mia. It doesn't fit his big wrist, so it must be stolen. And Stephanie's car lacks one wheel. Therefore, Bob is the best option. Kelly is having lunch at a cafe. At some point, she goes to the bathroom and leaves her phone on the table. Then she comes back and finds out that her phone is missing. Kelly spots a man leaving the place and runs after him. She stops him when the man is about to sit in a car and asks him to return the gadget. But the man claims to know nothing about the phone. He says, "I've just given my friends a lift to work," and he points at 2 men walking toward an office building. After hearing that story, Kelly calls the police immediately. Why? The man lied. His sports car only has 2 seats. It cannot fit 3 men. Jaden bought a beautiful ring for his girlfriend. He wanted to propose to her at the weekend. He left the ring on his desk at home and went to work. But when he got back in the evening, he didn't find the ring. Only his 3 sisters were at home that day, and all of them didn't like his girlfriend. He went to question each of them. Mia was in her room. She said she had spent the whole day there painting the walls. Emily was in the kitchen. She answered she'd been cooking a birthday cake for her friend. And the youngest, Nora, was in the garden. She said she had been planting roses. It didn't take Jaden long to figure out who had taken the ring. Do you know who it was? It was Nora. She looks too tidy after spending the entire day in the garden. Plus, she doesn't have any garden tools. Carter's literally running home from school. He has a piece of cake waiting for him there. But as soon as the boy opens the fridge, he realizes someone's eaten his cake. It can only be his elder sister Maya. He sees her leaving the bathroom. "How could you? I've been dreaming about this cake for the whole day." "What are you talking about? I came home half an hour ago. I immediately got in the shower and just finished." Carter isn't convinced. His sister's hair is completely dry. Maya is both telling the truth about the shower and lying about not eating the cake. How is it possible? The girl did get in the shower, but she didn't turn the water on. She was just sitting there and eating the cake. Someone stole the money Adam kept in his safe.
Oh my God.
The police questioned 3 suspects. Julia said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Parker told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. And Aiden had said he had been at his friend's playing computer games all night. The police immediately arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Parker. He was very specific about the time. The best player of Julian's volleyball team disappeared right before the game. Julian suspected 3 players from the rival team. Jackson said, "I've just returned from the gym. I was warming up before the competition." Leo had to pick up his wife with her daughter from the hospital. And Ryan claimed he'd fractured his leg, and the team doctor was giving him a massage. Who's behind the player's disappearance? It's Ryan. Getting a massage when your leg's broken? Really? A rich businessman called the police and said a precious vase from his collection had gone missing. When the detective arrived, he found out the businessman had just returned from his overseas trip. While he was away, a security guard was looking after the house. The man was questioned. "It happened last night. I was in the same room with the vase reading. Suddenly, the power went out. I heard the doorbell ring and hurried to open the door, but there was no one outside. When I came back, the vase was gone." The detective didn't believe the security guard and arrested him. Why? The doorbell can't ring if there's no electricity. Caroline went for a walk to the park. Deep in her thoughts, the girl wasn't really looking where she was going. That's why she didn't notice a pit in the ground and fell into it. When she came around, she found herself in a strange room. There were no windows, no door. In the dim light, the girl saw a table with 3 apples on it. And was it a note? "To get out of this trap, you've got to eat an apple. But only one of them isn't poisoned. Pick carefully." Caroline was terrified. But after examining the apples, she bravely bit into one of them, and nothing bad happened. Which apple did she choose? The girl chose the apple with the worm peeking out of it. If this creature can eat the fruit, a human can too. Mary worked as a maid in a rich family. Once they left for a 1-week vacation. The girl stayed alone and looked after the house. When her employers returned, the wife discovered that 2 of her diamond rings had gone missing. The woman called the police and accused Mary of taking the jewelry. Can you help the girl prove she has nothing to do with the theft? Mary was probably not very attentive while cleaning the house. One of the rings is under the sofa, the other in the bucket. It was the first day of school when the principal's wallet went missing. There were 3 suspects: the gardener, the math teacher, and the coach. Here's what they said. The gardener was mowing the front yard. The math teacher was checking the surprise test he'd given his students. And the coach was meeting new people who wanted to join the school's soccer team. Who took the wallet? It was the math teacher. Nobody gives surprise tests on the first day of school. Landon's mother is going to visit her relatives in another town. Before leaving, she enters her son's room to say goodbye. Oh my, it's a terrible mess. And the boy's playing games on his phone. The woman takes the gadget away and locks it in her safe. "I'll tell you the password only after you send me a photo of your room, tidy and squeaky clean." She's at the railway station when Landon sends her the photo. She's happy at first before she realizes it's an old one. How did she understand it? The date on the departure board at the station is December 20th, 2020, but it's July 5th, 2019 on the calendar in Landon's room. Logan is a special agent who's trying to catch a notorious villain. After long months of investigation, he finds the criminal's headquarters. But the door is locked, which is not a surprise really. Logan sees a screen next to the entrance. He touches it and the display lights up. It must be a riddle. Our special agent needs to solve it to get inside. Add one line to make it right. 9.5 equals 10, 10, 10. Logan cracks the puzzle in no time. What's the answer? "9.5 equals 10 to 10. The door opens and the man steps into a dark corridor. After walking some time, Logan notices a door. A code lock again. That's when the man also spots a calendar hanging on the wall. At the bottom, there are several letters, M, F, W. After connecting the dots, the special agent figures out the code. What is it? It's 153. The letters stand for the days of the week, Monday, Friday, and Wednesday. Monday is the first day, Friday the fifth, and Wednesday the third one. The door swings open and Logan sees a room. There's not much inside, just an old mattress, several half-rotten fruits in the corner, a small knife half hidden under the mattress, and a water dispenser with a bottle of water on top of it. The villain must have kept someone here. Anyway, there are 4 doors leading out of the room. Behind the first one, there's a mother bear with a cub. The second one leads to a lake with hungry crocodiles. Behind the third door, there's a room filled with toxic gas. And the fourth door hides a wall of fire. With his special training, Logan doesn't need much time to choose the door and leave the room. Which one does he pick? The third one. The agent empties the water bottle. Then he uses the knife to cut it in such a way that his head fits in. His scarf helps to prevent the toxic air from entering the bottle. He runs into a room. In the corner, Logan sees a staircase. It leads to the basement. Down there are 3 men. Each of them is tied to a chair and claims that one of the other 2 is the villain. They tell Logan they've been locked in there for at least 4 days. The special agent looks at the men attentively and soon figures out who the criminal is. Can you do the same? The villain is the man on the left. 4 days have passed, but he has no stubble whatsoever. Case solved. Allison is a big boss in an international company. One day, she's hurrying to an important meeting when she notices the documents she needs haven't been printed out. But she's asked at least 3 of her subordinates to do it. Ian says he's just returned from the supermarket because they've run out of coffee beans. Robert claims he's been terribly busy drafting a new contract. And Alice answers she's been in the kitchen, preparing snacks and making coffee for the meeting. Who's actually forgotten about the task and making up excuses at the last moment? It's Alice. There's no coffee in the office. Then how could she make it? So check this out. 3 men are sitting around a table drinking coffee. They all look alike, but only 2 of them are brothers. The third one just doesn't belong at all because he's an alien. Who is it? It's the man sitting on the right. He's got 12 fingers. Yeah, the one sitting in the center has some weird ears, but look at the family portrait on the wall. His dad has the very same ears. Gabrielle is a shop assistant in a department store. Right now, there are 3 people in the fitting rooms. There's Jessica, the woman wearing a green dress, Sean, a man wearing a leather jacket and skinny jeans, and Alex, the man who's trying on a larger-sized pair of jeans that Gabrielle just brought him. One of the clients is an alien. Help Gabrielle figure it out. Who's the alien? It's Alex. Take a closer look at his feet. Only a reptile or an alien would have feet like that. Jessica was walking through the dark woods. Suddenly, she saw a castle. Probably belonged to a witch or something. She was pretty curious and wanted to snoop around, but the door was locked. There was a note with a secret code attached to the gate, but she still needed to decipher it. If you want to enter my castle, crack this code. Can you crack this code? The answer is witch. 2 stars after wing means you need to get rid of the last 2 letters. Same goes for the word tea. For the word chair, you need to cut off the last 3 letters. See? Eric went to the supermarket and grabbed 2 oranges and a watermelon. It cost him $6. Helen went to the same supermarket. She grabbed a lemon, an orange, and a watermelon. She paid $8. The oranges, lemons, and watermelons all have different prices. What's more expensive, an orange or a lemon? The lemon's more expensive. Eric had 2 oranges and a watermelon, which cost him $6. The 2 fruits have different prices, so it can't be 2 plus 2 plus 2. The only possible combination is 1 plus 1 plus 4. So the watermelon cost $4. Helen paid $4 for the watermelon and $1 for the orange. So now we know a lemon costs $3. David and Hannah got stranded on a tiny, uninhabited island. They had no radio or cell phones, so they couldn't call for help. There were no trees on the island, so they couldn't even make a smoke signal. Suddenly, Hannah noticed a plane circling the sky, searching for them. But it was flying too high. There was no way the pilot could see them. That's when she got a bright idea. Soon after, the plane spotted them and picked them up. What was Hannah's idea? She used rocks to spell out SOS on the sand. 3 turtles are walking one behind the other. The first one says, "There are 2 turtles behind me." The second one says, "There's 1 turtle behind me and another one right in front of me." The third one says, "There are 2 turtles in front of me and 1 more right behind me." Now, how's that possible? Well, they're walking in a circle, very slowly. On a farm, there's a cow, 2 horses, and a cat. Farmer Jack drives up to his farm accompanied by his dog, Fluffy. How many feet are there on the farm? There are only 2. Cows and horses have hooves. Dogs and cats have paws. Only Jack has feet. You find yourself trapped in a medieval castle, far away from civilization. Boy, your vacation isn't turning out as planned. You can't jump out the window because it's too high off the ground. The only tree near the window doesn't look sturdy enough for you to climb on down. However, there are 3 doors, one of which can lead you to freedom. Behind the first door is a fierce fire. Behind the second door are hundreds of venomous snakes. And behind the third door, there's a pitch-black maze. Who knows what surprises are waiting for you there? So, which door should you choose? The third door. You just need to break off a tree branch, turn it into a torch by lighting it in the first room, and go through the maze. At least you'll be able to see where you're going. Maria lives in Paris, and once every 2 weeks she goes to Saint-Tropez to see her grandmother. She bought a ticket from the machine, finished her coffee, and headed to the train. But this weekend, something went wrong. She didn't make it to Saint-Tropez. Why not? She bought the wrong ticket. It says Saint-Tropez, Paris, but she needed Paris, Saint-Tropez. When she tried to get on the train, the conductor immediately told her she had the wrong ticket, and she just didn't have enough time to change it. Emma's a big fan of all things pink. She lives in a one-story pink house. She has a pink cat, a pink dog, a pink hamster, pink walls, pink doors, and even a pink fridge. What color are her stairs? She doesn't have stairs. She lives in a one-story house. But that house sure gets a lot of stares from the neighbors. Mark got to take part in a TV show where he had to answer some tough questions. He was doing really great and managed to answer 14 out of 15 questions. He was real nervous, only one more question and he'd hit the grand prize, $1 million. What is as large as an elephant but doesn't even weigh an ounce? Mark shouted out an answer and now he's a millionaire. What was his guess? It's shadow. It's as large as an elephant, but it's weightless. Ice melts when you heat it up. But if you heat me, I solidify. You have 7 seconds to figure out what I am. I'm an egg. Hey, don't crack me up. Paulo was on a mission to take some nature pics for his blog. As he was walking through the forest, he fell into a deep pit. He tried to climb out, but when he grabbed onto a rock, it broke off and water started to pour in. The pit was filling up fast. Paulo saw a deflated ball, an empty barrel, and a piece of wooden board. What should he use to get out of the pit? The deflated ball is too small and has a slit in one side. The wooden board wouldn't support his weight. The best option is the empty barrel. It might just keep Paulo afloat. Anthony majored in accounting at the university. His roommates wanted to test his intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote some messages on them. Then, they put the answers to Anthony's upcoming exam in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope has a truthful message written on it. The other 2 are lies. Anthony isn't allowed to open the envelopes before choosing. The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second read, "The exam answers are here." And the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope has the exam answers in it? The first envelope has the answers in it. The first and second envelopes are lies. The third one's telling the truth. A man was driving along a country road when one of his tires burst. While changing it, he accidentally lost all 4 wheel nuts. The road was deserted and the driver was afraid he'd be stuck out there all night. But an old lady walking by said something to him that changed his luck for the better. What advice did she give him? She told him to remove 1 nut from each of the other wheels and use them for the 4th tire. This way, he could get to the nearest service station. King Archibald had no one who could inherit his throne. That's why he decided to hold a contest to find a worthy successor. He gave a seed to every participant and announced that the person who grew the healthiest and most beautiful plant would become the next king or queen. On the final day of the competition, the king saw hundreds of people with plants of all sizes and shapes, but he ignored them all. He ended up choosing a lady holding a pot with nothing in it but moist dirt. How come she won? The king was a kind and honest man and wanted his heir to have the same qualities. He gave the participants tiny pebbles, not seeds. That's how he figured out the lady was the only honest one there. 4 men are lined up on several steps, all of them facing in the same direction. A brick wall separates the 4th man from the rest. Man 1 can see man 2 and 3. Man 2 can see man 3. All man 3 sees is the wall, and man 4 can't see anyone. They're all wearing hats, and they know that 2 of the hats are white and 2 are black. Which man will be the first to figure out and shout out the color of the hat he's wearing? Obviously, the men aren't allowed to turn around, talk to each other, or take their hats off. It'll be man 2. Man 3 and man 4 can't see any other hats. Man 1 sees 1 black hat and 1 white hat, so his hat can be either white or black. Man 2 only sees 1 black hat, but he realizes that if he were also wearing a black hat, man 1 would know his hat was white. And since man 1 hasn't said anything, man 2 must be wearing a white hat. And if you figured all that out, well, my hat's off to you.
You can see 2 women in the elevator. One works in this building, while the other came here for an interview. Can you guess which one works here? The woman on the right has a name tag on her jacket, while the one on the left has none. Can you spot an odd pineapple here? It's this one in the corner. It has 3 leaves, while all the rest have 4. Okay, let's make it harder this time. Do you notice anything weird in this picture? Hurry up! A tap coming right out of the tree doesn't look right, and a purple coconut looks sort of off, right? You've got 3 desserts before you, but only one of them is safe to eat. Can you choose the right one? The strawberries with whipped cream may seem delicious, but those tiny flies scream that this dessert is off. Next, you've got a muffin, but there's a worm in the cherries on top of that muffin. So, ice cream is the safest option. Now let's see how sharp your eyes are. How many numbers can you see? The numbers on the screen are 1, 2, 3, 7, 5, 0, 8, 6, 9. Look at these 3 paintings and try to tell which one is fake. The second one, it's labeled as having been painted in 1950, but there's a lion looking at a smartphone in it. How could there be smartphones back then? You're lost in the woods, cold, and so very hungry. Suddenly, you walk out to a clearing where you see 3 cozy-looking houses. Check your survivor's instinct. Which one do you think is safe to enter? The house on the left has a big lock on its door, and its windows are boarded up. There's just no way you can get in. The second house looks safe at first glance, but look at the snow. Bare footprints are leading to its porch. It wouldn't be nice to become a dinner for a hungry bear now, so your safest bet would be the third house. Who's not very smart out of these 2 guys? Well, giving your cat a wash from time to time isn't that bad, although the kitty sure wouldn't like it. So the guy on the left is doing fine. As for the one on the right, look at the pet food package in his hands. He's giving his dog cat's food. This stuff shouldn't be confused. Can you spot what's wrong with this image? The woman sitting in the armchair has 2 different slippers on her feet. The painting on the wall seems to be from 2 different time periods at once. There's a Victorian-era man with a digital camera hanging from a strap on his neck. Which of these three pictures has something wrong in it? The second one. The girl in it is eating her soup with a fork. One of the kids in the picture snuck out of the bedroom through the window at night and came back. Who was it? The one in the lower right corner still has their shoes on. One of these people going abroad is suspicious. Who? The woman on the right is going to Indonesia, but she's got a warm coat and a scarf packed in her suitcase. Are you willing to bet who's going to win in this rope pulling contest? If you placed your bet on the right-hand team, you've got it. There's more than one person on their side. They're just hidden outside the frame. Can you figure out how many interviews this guy already attended this month? Oh, no. He's done 5 out of 6. There are 6 post-it notes on the calendar, but a little movable square indicates the current date is on the 26th. His next interview is on the 28th. This room has something wrong, but I can't see it. Can you? There's a bird in the fish tank. Which hand is the odd one out? It's the third one, the only right hand here. The rest are lefts. There are 3 people in the science lab, but one of them is not who they want the others to believe they are. Who is it? It's the guy on the right. He's wearing a fake ID badge on his lab coat. This hall is full of extravagantly dressed guests, but one of them is more extravagant than the rest. They're a ghost. Can you spot them? Look at the woman on the left. Her feet are almost transparent. She must be the ghost. This one will require both your observation skills and logic. Which of the 2 teapots can hold more tea? The one on the left is taller, but the one on the right is broader, so they can hold an equal amount of tea. Still, the taller one also has its nose at the same level as the broader one, which won't allow it to be filled to the brim, so the right teapot can hold more tea. Which one of these 3 people came to this cafe not alone? It's the girl behind the table in the middle. She has 2 cups of tea in front of her. One of these 3 partygoers has recently escaped prison and hasn't gotten rid of all the evidence. Can you figure out who it is? It's the guy on the right. He still has handcuffs hanging from one of his hands. An art exhibition owner has sold a painting to a private collector. He said it was a work of an unknown 18th century artist. But the next day, the disgruntled buyer returned the picture to the exhibition owner and demanded his money back. Can you tell why by looking at the picture? Well, there shouldn't be an airplane in the painting if it was genuinely from the 18th century. Someone broke into a house in a rich neighborhood and got away with a lot of valuables. The police had a suspect and stopped by his home. The suspect said he hadn't left his home since the day before, but the police officers knew he was lying. Can you guess why? Look at the helmet on the bike's handlebar. It's upside down. Since it was raining so hard, it would have been already filled with water to the brim if it hadn't been hanging like this since the day before. A police officer approached a man sitting in a car parked next to a hotel's front door and issued a parking ticket. The man was outraged, saying he'd been there for no more than 2 minutes, and the sign said 5 minutes of staying was allowed. Still, the officer was adamant that the man wasn't telling the truth. Why? There had been a heavy snowfall and just too much snow on the man's car hood and roof. If he had arrived just 2 minutes before, the snow would have been blown away by the wind or melted. There are 3 passports before you, but only 2 of them are real. Which one is fake and why? The right one is fake. Passport photos should be taken against a white background, and this one has something else in it. Which of these 2 people here is asking for trouble? Surfing is not the safest of sports, but if this girl is a professional surfer, she's fine. The man with loud music coming out of his speaker isn't safe though. Loud sounds such as shouting or music can cause an avalanche in the mountains. Jason says he's just returned from a trip to Antarctica and he's showing his friends photographs taken there. They seem alright, but one of Jason's friends thinks he's lying. Why? Look at Jason's face. He has tan lines from the sunglasses. How fast can you solve this one? Grace has 7 sons and each of them has a sister. How many children does Grace have in total? The answer is 8. I bet all the sons have the same sister, so 7 sons plus 1 sister equals 8 children. Stephen's family was away this weekend, but he was found unconscious outside his mansion. Investigators had 3 main suspects. All of them were in the house when it happened. The first person was Maya, but she claimed to be innocent. "I was cleaning the house in the morning and I took a nap in the afternoon," she told the investigators. John, the butler, said, "I was told to check the food inventory in the afternoon." And the last person to be interrogated was James, the driver. He claimed he'd been far away from the house that day.
"Yeah, I was driving the boss's children to a garden party."
Which of these people do you think is guilty? It was James. All family members were away that weekend, so his alibi can't be true. What English word has the same pronunciation even after you take away 2 of its 3 letters? It's B. Phew, that one took some work. Look at these images and try to guess what's wrong. Duh! In the last picture, the woman is trying to eat soup with a fork. Like that would work. On a lazy Sunday afternoon, 7 friends decided to go to the mall. Esme, Evelyn, and Elise grabbed a cup of coffee each, while Ava, Ella, and Emma decided to drink some refreshing soda. Using this logic, can you figure out if Esther chose to drink coffee or soda? Esther is drinking coffee. The secret is in the girl's name. Esme, Evelyn, Elise, and Esther all have 2 letters E in their names, just like the word coffee. There were 4 pairs in the basket and 4 people in the room. Each person took 1 pair. In the end, there was still 1 pair left in the basket. How is that possible? The last person took a pair that was still lying in the basket. Mary's birthday was coming up and she decided to treat herself to a relaxing day at the spa. During a massage, Mary dozed off. When she woke up, the money she had in her purse was missing.
Oh no!
Mary had 3 suspects. The cashier, Erica, claimed, "I was having lunch in the back." Catherine, the masseuse, said, "I went to the back of the store to get some extra oil." The last person was Monica. She was another customer. She said she hadn't seen anything and had just been waiting for her appointment. Can you tell which one is the culprit? The thief is Catherine. She must have waited for Mary to fall asleep and then took her things. Look at the money hidden behind the oils. Hey, it's time for a hair appointment to trim those split ends. But in this scenario, there are only 2 hairdressers in town who can cut your hair. This guy or this girl. Which one should you choose? The girl, of course. If there are only 2 hairdressers in town, that means they cut each other's hair. And judging by the haircut the guy gave the girl, it looks like he doesn't really know what he's doing. If a rooster lays an egg on top of this cabin, in which direction will it roll? Aha! Roosters don't lay eggs, so it wouldn't roll anywhere. The shopkeeper of an expensive skincare store called the police because someone had robbed his business. He didn't notice the culprit, but according to the security camera footage, there were 3 customers in the store at the time of the robbery. Police officers questioned each of them. Michael said he'd been buying some stuff for his pets. The second suspect, Kayla, was looking for ointments and some aloe vera gel. The last person, Rachel, told the interrogators she'd been busy looking for lotions. Can you tell who's lying? Michael is the culprit. The skincare store doesn't sell pet products. Duh. Peter is a rich man who owns a lot of expensive jewelry. One day, he woke up and noticed that all of it had been stolen.
Uh-oh.
He called a private detective to solve this case. Peter's wife Carla was the first one to be interrogated. "I was showering at the time," she said nervously. Bianca, the housekeeper who'd been working for the family for years, was not in the house. She said, "I was cleaning the garage." The last suspect was Barb, the house chef. "I was making lunch for the family," she told the detective. Can you tell who stole the jewelry? It was Barb, of course. She claimed she was cooking lunch, but the crime happened at night. A man lives on the 80th floor of a high-rise building. On rainy days, he takes the elevator all the way up. But on sunny days, he only takes the elevator halfway to his floor. And then, he takes the stairs the rest of the way. Why does he do this? Well, my friends, it so happens that the man is short. Normally, he can only reach the 40th floor button. But on rainy days, he manages to push the 80th floor button with the help of his umbrella handle. Genius, huh? On a rainy day, Miranda decided to work from home. At one point, she went to the bathroom. But when she got back, she noticed that her cell phone and money had been stolen right in her own house during the day. There were 3 people in the house at the time. Her sister Beth claimed it wasn't her. "I was still asleep at the time because I'd gone to bed late yesterday." Her other sister Anna said she'd been taking a stroll in the garden when it had happened. "I was watching the night-scented orchid bloom." And lastly, there was Josh, Miranda's boyfriend. "I've just got home for lunch," he said. What do you think? Which of these 3 suspects stole Miranda's money and cell phone? Anna is the culprit, of course. Night-scented orchids only bloom at night, so she probably sneaked in and grabbed Miranda's things while the girl was away. A farmer rode into the village on Monday. He stayed in the village for 4 days and rode out on Monday. How is that possible? The farmer's horse is named Monday. I bet you didn't guess this one, did you? Uncle Ben's farm experienced a terrible downpour, and all but 15 pigs were missing and couldn't be found. How many pigs are still in the barn? If you said 15, you got it right. So, there are 3 important rooms in a house. The first one is a library full of rare books. The second room stores piles of money and gold. And the third room has boxes full of expensive jewelry in it. In case of a fire emergency, in which room will the police try to extinguish the fire first? The correct answer is none. Police officers don't fight fire. That's the job of firefighters. Virginia accidentally sent an email to her boyfriend instead of her best friend. She didn't want her partner to see it, so she took his laptop while he was sleeping and tried to delete the message. The laptop required a password to unlock. Luckily, there was a post-it with a hint. History, 3. Music, 5. Book, 2, 3, 1. Yellow, 1. What's the passcode? Each number indicated the letter Virginia had to select in the corresponding word. The third letter in history is S. The fifth letter in music is C. The second, third, and first letters in book are O, O, and B. And the first letter in yellow is Y. The password is Scooby. That's all for today, folks. Hope your brain is good and functioning after all these sharp riddles. See you next time!
Dustin is a widowed man living alone in his house. One day, the doorbell rang. Dustin went up to open his door, and right there she was, his wife. How's it possible? I hope you kept your eyes wide open for this one. Look, there's a photo of Dustin and his wife on the wall. His wife has a birthmark on her cheek. The woman that just appeared doesn't have it, so it must be Dustin's wife's twin sister. Dylan was grounded, and he wasn't allowed to meet even his girlfriend for a week. One evening, when Dylan's mom returned home from work, she found Dylan in his room and asked him if he'd met anyone that day. Dylan said that he'd been at home, studying all day. His mom didn't believe him. Why? Look, there's a lipstick stain on his neck. I'm pretty sure his girlfriend came over for a short visit. Another grounded teenager, Eslyn, wasn't allowed to see any of her friends for 2 weeks after failing her history test. One night, her mother had a night shift and only returned home next afternoon. She came to check on her daughter, and she knew immediately that Eslyn had a friend over for a sleepover. How did she figure it out? Examine Eslyn's room carefully. 2 plates, 2 cups, 2 forks. She wasn't the only one eating dinner in her room last night, and she wasn't smart enough to clean up after. Smells like 2 more weeks to me. Miss Virginia Dell is a rich young lady who had a beautiful and expensive jewelry collection behind a glass in her dressing room. One morning, she found that someone broke the glass and stole her jewelry. Miss Dell's cleaning lady claimed that she had cleaned the room at around 5 a.m. and the jewelry was still there. Virginia's best friend, who was staying in her house that week, said that she had never even walked in the dressing room. Virginia's cousin, who was also staying with her for the holiday, said that she'd walked in the dressing room in the morning, but hadn't paid any attention to the jewelry, and for sure hadn't stolen anything. Who is the liar? It's the cleaning lady. Seems like right after she broke the glass and stole the jewelry, she wiped off the pieces of glass while cleaning as well, because there's no shattered glass on the floor. Okay, here's another task for you to test your observation skills. I'll show you two people and some items. Your task is to guess which person the item belongs to. Let's start off easy. What about this stethoscope? Well, it should definitely belong to this doctor on the right. Two more people. Any guesses who the owner of this bracelet is? The bracelet has a name engraved on it, Sophia. This girl on the left has a name tag with the same name, so it must be her bracelet. Next up, this lipstick. There are two girls who are possible owners, but what's your best guess? Who does it belong to? It must be this girl. Both of them are wearing lipstick, but this girl has the exact same shade as the lipstick itself. Earring and two girls again to choose from. Any guesses? It must be this girl. Her ears are pierced, and the other girls aren't. The next item is the hairdryer. Who do you think it belongs to? It must be this girl's dryer. She has long hair, and the other guy is bald. Okay, this one is more fun. The next one we have to place is this cute little cat. Who do you think is its owner? See that this girl's legs are a bit scratched? They give her away completely. It's her cat. One last item for you to place. This time it's a photograph of the owner in her teenage years with her parents. Who do you think it belongs to? The teen in the photo is a redhead with green eyes. There's just one redhead girl with green eyes, and here she is. It must be her photo. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. She came across a witch's house and asked her to take her home. 5 doors appeared. Only one of them will take you home, and you only have one chance. The right door is black. It's not next to the leftmost or the rightmost door. It's not the door in the middle either. Which door should Esme choose? There are just 3 black doors, and it's one of them. It's not the door next to the leftmost or the rightmost one, so the 4th door is eliminated. It's not the middle door, so it's out too. Esme should walk out the door on the left. Eiko woke up in a dark dungeon without remembering what happened. She looked around and saw a metal door. Unfortunately, it was locked, and it required not just 1 password, but 4. Eiko had only 1 attempt to make it right. Gladly, next to the door, there was a sign with 4 words: apple, bread, chair, and dress. Which word belongs here? Pay attention to the shapes of each password. Some letters are bigger than others, and each word should fit right in. So it should be bread on the top left, apple on the top right, dress on the bottom left, and chair on the bottom right. In a factory, a worker and a half make a chair and a half in 1 hour and a half. How many chairs does one worker make in 1 working day, which is 6 hours? If 1.5 workers make 1.5 chairs in 1.5 hours, it means that one worker makes 1 chair in the same time, which is 1.5 hours. So in a 6-hour working day, one worker makes 4 chairs. It was a lazy day, but as soon as it started raining, a city's police officer got a call. Mr. Jones said that someone had just bumped into his car and drove away. The officer arrived. They found one person nearby fixing his car's tire. Mr. Jones said that it was the gentleman who had bumped into his car. The gentleman said that it couldn't be true, since he had been trying to fix his car for over an hour now and was there the whole time. Who is lying? It's the guy fixing his car. The rain just recently started. If he'd been fixing his car the whole time, the ground underneath his car would be dry. But it's wet, which means his car broke down just recently, probably when he was driving away after the accident. A crew of pirates arrived at a deserted island in the Caribbean at night. In the early morning, the captain went ashore to find his secret stash with all the treasures hidden in it. But when he reached it, the treasures weren't there. Someone from his crew had gone ashore earlier and stolen all of it. There were 3 suspects: Bill, first mate, Gil, bosun, and Will, cook. All of them denied stealing anything, but the captain knew who was lying. Who? There are footprints on the shore from earlier that don't belong to the captain. One is a footprint, but the other one is a hole from a stick. The robber must be Gil, the bosun, because he is the only one with a wooden leg. Let's start with training your eyes a bit. Can you find an odd one out here? Yes, that's the one. Another one for you. Look carefully, and you only have several seconds to find the imposter. That's the one. Correct. Now the game is getting a bit harder, but I know you've got it. What do you say? Here it is. Did you find it? Okay, last one of these, the hardest one. Do you see the odd one out this time? There it is! Great job!
Emma came to the office on Monday and found out that someone had deleted an important report from her computer. She knew that in the company there were 3 people who would be happy if she lost her job. Emma loved reading detective novels and even wanted to become a private detective when she was younger. That's why she knew she had to question the suspects. Laura, Emma's colleague, said, "I've just arrived. Phew, the weather is awful. Such a downpour. Why are you asking me?" Thomas, the accountant, answered,
I was out getting coffee and I just returned.
and Eliza, a new employee, said,
I had a meeting with a client in a cafe. I've just come back to the office.
who might have anything to do with Emma's report. Eliza, pay attention to the suspect's feet. Thomas's and Laura's shoes are wet. They got caught in the rain, but Eliza's high heels are perfectly dry. She must have lied about going out to meet with a client. Emma found this strange. To confirm her suspicions, she decided to watch Eliza, but the very next day, the girl disappeared, along with some very important documents. Emma's boss asked her to help him return the documents. He didn't want to inform the police yet. Despite all, Emma was happy. She could fulfill her dream of becoming a detective. Eliza's computer was protected with a password. After an hour of failed attempts, Emma finally noticed a piece of paper on the floor under Eliza's desk. She picked it up.
I'm made up of 2 words joined together. I'm a dish. My first half is a famous genre. My second part is a grain. What am I?
The answer to this riddle might be the password, but what is it? Popcorn. Emma managed to start the computer, and soon enough, she found a map with some coordinates. Time for some action. The map led her to a modern building. It was a gym. She entered and asked the receptionist about Eliza, but the woman refused to tell her anything unless she brought a guest pass. Once inside, Emma decided to explore the place. At one point, she entered the showers for ladies. She immediately realized something was off. But what exactly? See that man reflected in the window? Who is he, and what is he doing here? Emma was about to run out of the showers when everything went black. When she woke up sometime later, she realized she was in a small room without windows. There was a door with a combination lock. In her hand, she was clutching a note. Spelled forward were those rodents that terrify you. But what you need is spelled backward. You can't touch it, but you can see it at night. What is the password? The rodents the note speaks about are rats. Then the word Emma needs is star. The girl managed to open the door. She rushed out of the room but stopped abruptly. She saw a large armchair. A man was sitting in it. It was the man from the showers at the gym.
Here you are, he exclaimed cheerfully.
I admit that at first I wanted to bring your boss down, but I've changed my mind. I want to play now. If you crack all my riddles, I'll give you the documents and let you go. Emma had nothing to do but agree. The man said, "See, I have a room filled with gold. Once, 3 thieves sneaked into that room, but only 2 of them walked out. After they left, the room was empty. So, where was the 3rd thief?" The 3rd criminal was in a wheelchair. He didn't walk. He rolled out of the room.
Good job,
the man shouted and pressed some buttons on the armrest of his chair. Emma screamed as she felt herself falling through the floor. It was pitch dark in the basement. Suddenly, a torch on the wall lit up. Emma saw 3 doors. Behind the first door, there was a dense jungle full of dangerous creatures. Behind the second door, there was a gigantic fire-breathing dinosaur whose breath could burn through any kind of material. And behind the third door, there was a lake filled with ice water. The water was so cold it needed just a few seconds to freeze literally anything. Which door should Emma choose? She should walk through the second door. Even if dinosaurs were still around, they wouldn't be able to breathe fire. It was the correct decision. The dino turned out to be a skillfully made statue. But there was just one door leading out of the room, and it was locked too. Ah! Emma was starting to get impatient. Luckily, there was another note with a hint. There were drawings on it: a banana, a sunflower, a rainbow, and an apple. Emma thought for a while, then pressed 4 numbers on the panel near the door. The code was correct, and the door opened. What numbers did the girl press? One, 3, 7, 1. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects in the picture. Emma saw a long corridor. She'd been walking for a while when she realized that the corridor was about to split into 3 passageways. They were signed West, East, South. She also saw this inscription on the wall. Which corridor should she choose? Emma tilted her head and looked at the inscription upside down. This way, it read, South. That's where she needed to go. Soon, the girl saw 3 doors on her way. On the floor, there were 3 keys that could open these 3 doors. What is the biggest number of attempts she will need to figure out the key for each door? Six. 3 attempts for the first key and all 3 doors. 2 attempts for the second key and the remaining 2 doors. And 1 attempt for the third key and the last door. Emma decided to go through the left door, and guess what? She ended up in the room with the armchair again. The man was there too. He asked her, "Today is Friday. You need to do something 72 days later. What day of the week will it be?" Emma understood it really fast. It would be Sunday. Look, 72 days equals 10 weeks plus 2 days. And 2 days from Friday, that's Sunday. The man was getting irritated. "Well, and how good are you at math? Look at this sequence. What are the next two numbers?" The next two numbers should be 20 and 28. There are two groups of numbers in this sequence: 11, 14, and 17, and 19, 22, and 25. In both of them, each next number is 3 more than the previous one. It means that in the first group, the next number is 20, and in the second group, 28. Then, the man offered Emma a bet. He said he would put 1 red and 1 blue marble in a box. If the girl picked the blue marble, he would let her go. But if she got the red marble, she would have to stay and help him around the house for a year. Emma knew that the man was going to cheat, because why would he take a risk like that? He would probably put 2 red marbles instead of 1 red and 1 blue. But how can she prove it? After thinking for a while, she managed to win the bet. How did she do it? Emma picked a marble and quickly put it in her mouth without showing it to the man. The marble that remained in the box was red. According to the rules, it meant that the marble Emma had chosen was blue. The man didn't want to admit that he had tried to cheat. "Okay, I'm not going to go back on my word, but here's the last riddle. If you crack it, you're free to go. How can you turn 6 into an odd number?" Emma didn't need to think much. She removed the letter S, which left IX. That's the number 9 in Roman numerals, and this number is odd. The man could do nothing. He gave Emma the documents and let her go. The girl was happy. Do you think she should pursue the career of a detective? Bella is planning a workshop for hairdressers. She needs a model with natural hair color. Bella gets messages from 3 candidates: Kelly, Shelley, and Sally. She looks through their social media and finds out that only one of these ladies didn't lie. Can you guess who has natural hair color? Kelly has gray roots, so she dyes her hair. Shelley has yellow blonde hair. It looks pretty natural, but it proves nothing. Meanwhile, Sally has red hair, and she has family pictures that show that her parents and siblings have the same hair color. So, Bella should choose Sally. The next day, Bella goes hiking with her friends, Jeff and Kim. They're hanging out on a high rock. Can you spot who's in danger? Bella is blindfolded and she's approaching a cliff break. Jeff is digging with a shovel, but there are electrical wires underneath. And Kim is just trying to feed a squirrel, but everyone is in danger. Bella can fall down, Jeff can get electrocuted, and the squirrel can bite Kim. Bella enters a cave to take some pictures, but suddenly an earthquake occurs. The exit is now blocked with stones. Bella looks around and finds 3 passages leading outside. There's a hungry wolf inside the first tunnel. The second passage is filled with toxic mushrooms. Just one bite can be fatal for any human. And inside the third tunnel, there's a water-filled tank with a shark. Which way is more or less safe? Bella should choose the second passage. The mushrooms are only dangerous when eaten. No one is forcing Bella to eat them. Bella is walking back home and sees a lonely dog on a playground. One of these guys is its owner. Can you guess who? The dog belongs to the second guy. He's skimming a newspaper to be able to look after his dog. Also, he's holding a collar that matches the dog's size. Meanwhile, another man is scrolling his feed on the phone and pays no attention at all. Bella arrives at work. She's been trying to open the door leading to her office, but it's locked. Someone changed the 4-number combination. Can you help her crack the passcode? There's the word hide written next to the door. If we replace each letter with its serial number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 8945. Bella opens the beauty salon, looks around, and spots 3 weird things about this place. Can you see them too? The mirror doesn't reflect reality. There's a spoon in this box of combs, and this unplugged hairdryer is working. Bella hears weird sounds from the street. She looks out the window and sees 2 women and 1 man arguing. One of the ladies is his wife. Can you guess who? The man and the lady in a yellow shirt have matching rings. Therefore, she's his wife. 3 clients arrive at the beauty salon and ask for old-fashioned hairstyles. Bella takes a look at them and spots a ghost right away. What about you? The first lady is dressed up as a ghost, but she's wearing jeans underneath her costume, so she's probably an actress. The third lady looks like an ordinary person with conservative tastes. But take a closer look at the second lady's feet. They don't touch the floor, so she's the ghost. Bella goes to the nearest store to buy some food for lunch. She sees 3 women in a line. Only one of them is a mother. Can you guess who? The first woman has a cart full of goods including diapers, but the size is big, so they're for elderly people. The third lady is buying fireworks, soda, and red cups. But it proves nothing. She's probably just going to throw a party. Meanwhile, the second lady has a stain on her dress and she looks pretty sleepy, so she's a mother. Bella moves on to the next store. There's a line with 3 customers, and one of them is a thief. Can you guess who? The third guy is wearing an oversized sweater, but he's innocent. Meanwhile, the second guy in a hoodie hid the stolen goods in his hood. The next morning, Bella wakes up in an abandoned house. A creepy voice says,
I'll set you free if you guess the password correctly.
"Can you help her escape?" Take a look at the letters on the wall. We can rearrange them into a dream house. Bella is meeting her best friend Kyle in a restaurant. He's about to introduce her to his future wife, Nellie. But Nellie has a twin sister, Kelly, who's also attending the dinner. Can you help Bella figure out which lady is Kyle's fiancée, Nellie? The twins look exactly the same, but Nellie has a heart-shaped necklace. Bella is watching the videos of her favorite travel bloggers. One of these guys is a millionaire, while the other one is broke. Can you guess who is who? The first guy is broke. He photoshopped himself into this picture on the beach. The palm trees have shadows directed to the left. Meanwhile, his own shadow is directed to the right. Why would a millionaire fake his vacation? Today, Bella's beauty salon celebrates its 5th birthday. She invited a lot of friends, including her boyfriend Tim. Before the event, she calls Bella, saying, "I'm at work, but I promise to be at the party at 9 o'clock." Tim comes over in 9 hours and 3 minutes. He brings pretty flowers and chocolates, but Bella bursts into tears because she's very mad. Why? Bella was expecting her boyfriend to arrive at 9 p.m., but he came at 9 a.m. the next morning. Two ladies show up at Bella's beauty salon. One of them is super rich. Can you guess who? The second lady is a bag designer. The first lady is wearing her brand. So, the second one must be really rich. Bella is attending Kyle's wedding. All of his friends show up looking rich and fabulous. Mike has a bunch of expensive gadgets. Chuck is wearing a brandy suit. And Lily is driving an exclusive sports car. But only one of them is really rich. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Chuck's suit. He didn't remove the price tag, so he's probably planning on returning it after the wedding. This fancy sports car doesn't belong to Lily. It's rented. Therefore, Mike is the richest person here. There are too many guests at the wedding for such a small cake. But Bella manages to grab a slice. She puts a plate with her cake on a table and leaves for 5 minutes to wash her hands. Then she comes back and sees an empty plate. Bella questions 3 guests. Alice says, "I've been dancing non-stop for the last 2 hours. I didn't eat anything." Chuck says, "It wasn't me who ate the cake. I'm on a sugar-free diet. But I guess it was Alice. I don't trust her." Lily says, "I didn't touch your cake. I was helping the bride braid her hair." Who's lying? Take a closer look at the bride's hairstyle. She doesn't have any braids. Therefore, Lily's story is fake. The wedding is going well, but at some point the bride notices that her diamond ring is missing. The robber manages to escape from the wedding, and he's hiding nearby. Can you spot him? He's over here. The next morning, Bella arrives at her beauty salon. Oh no! Someone stained the walls with paint. Bella finds 3 suspects and questions them. Molly replies, "I spent the last 3 days in another state at my parents' house. You can ask them if you don't believe me." Kelly says, "Yesterday I stayed here after closing to dye my hair. Sheila was helping me with my black roots. But then we left." And Sheila says, "Yesterday I was feeling sick and left earlier. The walls were fine." Who's lying? Kelly. She said she dyed her black roots, but they're still there.
Regina and Claire went to a shopping mall on the weekend to buy some clothes. Regina saw an escalator going down with a big banner that said, "Huge sale! Everything 99% off." Of course, they hurried there. Who wouldn't? But as soon as they headed there, everything faded out. The mall and the part of the escalator behind them vanished. It got all dark, and they had no other option but to go where the escalator would take them. They arrived at a place where they couldn't see anything. Regina yelled for help. Suddenly, 3 signs appeared in front of them. The first one said, "This leads to a sea filled with flesh-eating mutant sharks." The second went, "This leads to a forest with brain-sucking zombie mosquitoes." And the third one said, "This leads to a cave covered with sharp rocks and bats with giant claws." Which one should they choose? Well, bats are harmless until provoked, whether they have small or big claws, so they should choose the third one. And as for the sharp rocks, they just need to watch their steps. They started walking in the direction of the cave when suddenly a peculiar tiny monster cut their way. Welcome to the underworld, home of all monsters. We hope you enjoy your stay. Even if you don't, you can't ever leave here anyway. And it vanished out of sight. That's when a scary-looking city started to appear around them. What does it mean that we can't leave? Claire asked. There must be someone who can help us, Regina replied. Psst, over here, a creepy monster said from the corner of the street. Crack my riddle and I'll tell you who can help you. What goes around the house and into the house without ever touching the house? It's the sun. So, if you want to see it again, go to the restaurant called Cantina Hella and find the only human there. He might help you. And the monster left. Regina and Claire found it, but a bodyguard stopped them at the entrance. Password? We don't have it, Regina said. The bodyguard handed them a piece of paper with these numbers on it. The number that comes next is the password. Can you figure it out? Every next number is made by moving the first digit of the previous one to the end. So the password is 1793. Regina and Claire walked in. The place was super crowded with human-looking monsters everywhere. It seemed impossible to spot the only real human in there. Can you see him? Well, the others may look human, but if you take a closer look, you can see their tails, fangs, horns, and all that. But this guy here doesn't have any of that, so he must be who they're looking for. Regina and Claire approached the man. His name was Eddie. They told him all about what they'd been through. He said, I know how you can get back. I do travel to Earth and back here all the time. I'll help you. Meet me here in an hour. Then he gave them his card and left. On it, there was strange writing. Can you decipher it? You need to replace all the letters with the previous letter that comes before them in the alphabet. So it says police station. Regina and Claire got hungry, so they decided to order something to eat. The waiter brought them 3 different desserts. Which one should they choose? Did you notice that the eyes on the first one are actually blinking? I wouldn't eat that. And the teeth inside the second one are real. Well, that's creepy. But the worms inside the third one are just gummy worms. And what looks like dirt is actually chocolate crumble. So they should definitely eat this one. After eating, they headed to the police station to find Eddie. When they arrived, they saw Eddie was really panicked. I'm a monster hunter, like a detective of the underworld, and I caught this extremely dangerous monster called Winona. But she escaped from her prison cell. I don't know how. But Claire immediately figured out how she escaped. Can you? Look at the poster on the wall. It's moving slightly. There must be an airflow behind it that is coming from a tunnel. Suddenly, a guardian rushed next to them and said, Sir, someone claimed they spotted Winona at the gym. Everyone rushed there. The receptionist silently pointed them in the direction of the changing cabins. They saw the feet of 3 different monsters in 3 different changing rooms. One of them was Winona. Can you tell which one? Do you remember what the other prisoners were all wearing? The monster in the third cabin is wearing the same thing, so she must be Winona. Eddie kicked the door of the third cabin, and there she was. Yet Winona looked extremely calm for a monster who was about to go back to jail.
Not so fast,
she said, and created 4 clones of herself. Now there were 5 Winonas in front of them.
I will give you a hint about who the real me is and let you take me back to jail only if you agree to place me in the most luxurious cell.
All the Winonas said at the same time. Eddie had no choice but to accept. The first and fourth clones said that number 5 was the real Winona. The second and the third clones said that number 1 was the real Winona. And the fifth clone said that number 2 was the real Winona. Only one of these statements was true, and the other 4 were lies. So, can you tell which clone is actually the real one? If only one of them told the truth, then neither the first nor the fifth clone could be the real Winona, since that would mean 2 clones told the truth. Nor could the real Winona be the third or the fourth clone, since that would mean no one told the truth. So the only way one of them told the truth is if the second clone is the real Winona. After Eddie placed Winona in her new luxury cell, it was time to help Regina and Claire get back home. He took them to a place called the Hound Tattoo Studio and explained that the only way they could go back home was to get a key-shaped tattoo, which would open a portal to Earth. The tattoo artist showed them his key symbols catalog and said each different key shape opened a portal to another land, and they needed to pick the one that would open a portal to Earth, because if they can't, nobody knows where they travel. Can you help them? Remember, Eddie told them that he travels to the Earth all the time. Then he must have the Earth portal key tattoo as well. Now, let's take a closer look at all his tattoos. Here is the key-shaped one, and this key on the catalog is the same. So it must be the one that will help them go back home. After their tattoos were complete, Eddie activated their magic to send them home. Regina and Claire felt dizzy, as if falling through a rabbit hole. Then, suddenly, they woke up in their bedrooms at home. Wait, none of that was real? How do you think they can tell if this was all a dream or not? Simple. They should just check if they really have tattoos now. Yup, there they are. They definitely didn't have them when they were at the mall. Well, that was weird. Now, Anna had just graduated from college and was in the process of searching for a job. She was going to apply to a few companies, and she wanted her CV to be perfect to increase her chances. So she checked it once again before sending it. There were 3 mistakes in her CV, including typos. Can you help the girl spot them? Take a look at the year when she graduated from college. In her CV it says 2922, but that's not possible. So she must have typed 9 instead of 0 here. Now look at the education section. She wrote university instead of university. That's the second typo. And the last typo is in the skills section. That's right, the word skills itself is misspelled. A week later, Anna was invited to stage 2 of the application process in 3 different companies. The first one was a packaged food company called Packed Inc. The second one was a tech company called Data Corp, and the third one was a media company called Watch TV. But only one of them is Anna's dream job. Can you tell which of these companies it is? Take a look around her room. You'll notice that there's some merchandise from Data Corp. Anna has their sticker on her laptop, and there's a Data Corp mug on her table. But most importantly, do you see that post-it note on her mirror that says goals? Her number one goal is to get a job at Data Corp. If the first two hints didn't convince you, this certainly will do. The talent recruiter of Data Corp soon called Anna. She said the girl would pass stage 2 of the application process if she guessed her name correctly. But of course, I will give you a hint, she said. My name is 2 of 7 Chicago, 2 of 6 London, and 1 of 9 Edinburgh.
What?
Can you tell what the talent recruiter's name is? Two of 7 of the word Chicago gives you the letters C and H. 2 of 6 of the word London are the letters L and O. 1 of 9 of the word Edinburgh gives you the letter E. So, her name is Chloe. Chloe informed Anna that she had passed stage 2 and the company was inviting her to San Francisco for a face-to-face interview. That was stage 3 of the application process.
Oh my god.
The recruiter also said that the company was going to cover all of her expenses if she answered this next riddle correctly. There is a house. One enters it blind, one leaves it seeing. What is it? Do you know the answer? It's a school, and Anna answered correctly. On the day of the interview, Anna arrived at the airport too early. She was hungry, so she decided to eat something. There were only 3 restaurants open at the airport. The first one served only different kinds of salads. The second one sold various types of pizza and pasta. And the third place was a seafood restaurant. Which restaurant should she choose? Take a look at their displays. There are ants inside one of the salad bowls that are on display in the first restaurant. Pass. A few of the fish in the third restaurant's display look rotten. It's probably not a good idea to eat there. So, she should choose the pizza and pasta restaurant. Anna entered the place and ordered meatballs and spaghetti. As she was waiting, 3 friends who were eating at another table caught her eye. They all looked like very rich people. But Anna could tell that only one of them was so rich that she could literally buy anything she wanted. Can you tell how Anna figured that out? First, take a look at the menu board on the wall. All the prices are listed there. And now, look at what each girl is eating. The first one is munching on Neapolitan pizza. The price for this dish is listed as $25. The second girl is eating pineapple pizza, which costs $39.99. The third girl, though, is trying Pizza Royale, which is made with 24-karat gold topping. Look it up, it's a real thing. And its price is $4,000. That's a lot, even for an airport restaurant. So the third girl must be the richest one. It was time to board the plane. The company spared no expense to get Anna to San Francisco with comfort. So she was going to fly business class. As one of the flight attendants showed her to her seat, she told Anna that she was very lucky to be on this flight because there was a very famous actor on board, and he was sitting next to her.
Oh my god.
Can you tell which of these people is the actor? See that guy holding his cell phone? Take a closer look at the screen. He's on his social media sharing a selfie he took with that guy, who must be the famous actor. And now put that cell phone on airplane mode. Time to go. After the plane landed in San Francisco, Anna headed directly to the Data Corp's headquarters for her interview. She told the security guard that Chloe was expecting her for a job interview.
Hello.
After checking the guest list to confirm her words, the security guard gave her a name tag. "Here, take this. All guests have to wear it," he said. Then he gave her a card. "You need to go to the 7th floor to meet her. This card has the passcode to call the elevator. Good luck with everything." Just as Anna was going to thank him, he interrupted her and continued talking. "And keep this in mind, the elevator will help you ascend in an orderly way." Anna thought, "Okay, weird. What can that even mean?" Then she walked up to the elevator. There were no down or up buttons, just a passcode panel. Then she looked at the card the security guard had given her and saw a picture of a funny face. There were 3 numbers hidden in that image, and they were the numbers she needed to press on the panel. Can you see them? There's a 7 here, a 3 is here, and here's number 1.
Okay.
But in what order should she press them? Can you help her? Remember the weird thing the security guard said? He actually gave Anna a hint. The elevator will help you ascend in an orderly way. Ascend, order. So, she needs to enter the numbers in ascending order from the lowest to the highest. It means that the passcode is 137. Ah, here comes the elevator. Anna pressed the button for the 7th floor, but the elevator stopped on the 2nd floor. 3 people were going to get in. Anna was excited to see some Data Corp employees, but one of them didn't actually work there. Can you tell who? Remember what the security guard said about all guests having to wear name tags? This lady has one too, so she is a guest and isn't working there. Anna got off at the 7th floor and was greeted by Chloe. The woman directed her toward the manager's office. Anna walked in. "Hello, Anna, I'm Edith," the manager said. "I'm the one who's going to interview you, since you are applying for the manager's assistant position. I saw your CV and I was impressed. You've been solving all the riddles correctly, too. I have one last riddle for you, and if you crack it, we'll hire you.
Oh my god.
I'm a bean, but I'm not magic. I can be roasted, but I'm not a turkey. I can be ground, but I'm not pepper. I can be pressed, but I'm not a button. What am I? Quick, help Anna get this job." The answer is coffee. And you're going to be bringing me a lot of it. Welcome to Data Corp, Anna, Edith said. Wow, it's one weird job interview. One Sunday, Tom told his brother Dan that he was going hiking with his friend Chris. The next Saturday, the police found Tom unconscious in the forest. Dan said he had been working all week. As for Chris, he was found wandering along the highway. He explained that he had gotten lost in the forest almost immediately after they had arrived and just found his way home. One of the guys was lying. Who was it? Look at Chris. He's too well-shaven for a man who spent a week in the woods. There are 5 girls in the room. Ashley is drawing, Olivia is reading, Maria is playing hide-and-seek, and Emma is tidying up. What's Sarah doing? Sarah is playing hide-and-seek with Maria, of course. What number is missing? A small hint, it's not number 4. Number 5 is missing. The subsequent number of 234 is 235. In the small town of Sunshine Valley, 3 teachers went on a sick leave all on the same day. Jenna says she got into a car accident and broke her leg, so she can't walk. Emma complained she had a very unfortunate workout and injured her neck, so she can't turn her head. And Tina says she fell from a bike and fractured her arm. But one of them is lying. Can you tell who? It's Jenna. If she can't walk, why does she even have a crutch to hold her up? If it's raining at midnight, can you expect that in 72 hours it'll be sunny? Nope, in 72 hours, it's going to be night again. In the room, there are two people, both of them sitting. But if one of them stands up, they won't be able to take the other one's place whatever they do. How is that possible? The second person is sitting on the first one's lap. A father tells his teenage daughter, "You arrived very late at 3 a.m. and made us all worry a lot. I don't want this situation to repeat." His daughter, though, replies that it will never happen again. How can she be so sure? The father was talking about the birth of his daughter. An art expert paid big money at an auction for a painting that he knew didn't cost anything. He was an honest man and didn't have any criminal intentions. Why did he buy this picture? Although the painting cost nothing, its frame was a beautiful and expensive piece of art. A street food vendor has a sign on his stall saying, "1 hot dog, $1.50. 3 hot dogs, $5. He knows it's more expensive to buy 3, but doesn't change his sign. Why? Each time a customer saw his sign, they would buy 1 hot dog, then another, and then a third one, totaling up to $4.50. Thus, everyone's happy. The customers think they're clever, and the vendor gets his sales up. During a fire, a bank was robbed. The security guard told the police that he wanted to save a bag of money, but he had to crouch to tie his boot just in front of the emergency exit. At that moment, the door opened and hit him on the head. When he came to, the money was missing. Why was the security guard arrested? Well, all emergency doors open outwards. You find yourself in a photo gallery. After looking at the wall, you realize that one of the pictures doesn't belong to the rest. You see a raccoon, a llama, a football, and a balloon. Can you tell which is the odd one out? It's the llama picture. The other 3 objects have 2 double letters in their names, but the llama only has 1 double. There's a barrel of water in the yard. You look inside and say that it's more than half full, but your friend argues that it's less than half full. How to figure out who's right without using any measuring tools or removing water from the barrel? Tilt the barrel so that the water touches the rim. If you can see the bottom, the barrel's less than half full. If the bottom is still covered with water, it's more. Sam and his brother John were always fighting. Their mother couldn't take it anymore and came up with a clever plan to stop them. She told the boys to stand on the same piece of paper in such a way that they didn't touch each other, and it worked. The boys couldn't fight anymore. How did she do it? The woman slipped the paper under a closed door and made Sam stand on one side and John on the other. There is a bridge that is 1 mile long. It can hold only 5,000 pounds at one time. That's exactly the weight of the truck that's crossing it. The truck reaches the middle of the bridge and stops. Suddenly, a bird lands on the truck. Is the bridge going to collapse? The bridge isn't going to break down because the truck has already used some gas to get to the middle and therefore weighs less than 5,000 pounds. A young woman is sitting near the window. At first, she's deep in thought. Then, she suddenly decides to throw something out of the window. A couple minutes later, she drops on the floor unconscious. She's perfectly healthy and isn't prone to sudden faints. There was no one outside to have hit her either. So, what happened? She was knocked out by the very same thing she'd thrown out the window. It was a boomerang that came back and hit her on the head. Well, that was a dumb thing to do. Two men are in a room facing each other. One of the men is a psychic and can see into the future. He predicts that in 10 minutes, the other man will be hit on the back of his head. Of course, shocked and paranoid, the other man can't stop staring at the clock on the wall. And exactly 10 minutes later, he's lying face down on the floor. How could it happen? After 10 minutes, the man turned around to see if there was anyone behind him. At exactly that moment, the psychic hit him on the back of his skull. Well, I'm starting to think he wasn't a psychic after all. You walk up to the edge of a forest when suddenly you see a man in swimming trunks, goggles, and a snorkel going out of the thicket and falling on the ground as if exhausted. But you know the nearest body of water is several miles away. How did the weird man end up in the forest? There was a huge forest fire, and the plane that was extinguishing it had to scoop up water from the lake several miles away. Doing it, it accidentally captured the man snorkeling in the lake. He was dropped down together with the water and miraculously survived. Upon receiving an anonymous tip, the police rushed to a house where a suspect was said to be. They have no physical description, but they do know his name is John. When the cops reach the place, they see 4 people sitting at a table: a carpenter, a firefighter, a truck driver, and a mechanic, none of which have name tags on their uniforms. Without a moment's hesitation, they arrest the firefighter. So, how did they know that's their guy? The firefighter was the only man in the room. All the others at the table were women and couldn't be named John. A man and his wife are driving down a highway when they run out of gas. So the husband decides to walk to the nearest gas station, which is about an hour's walk away. Before he heads off, he tells his spouse to stay in the car and lock all the doors and windows. The wife, bored and wanting to entertain herself, turns on the radio only to hear some shocking news. A notorious criminal has escaped from prison and was last seen on that very highway where the car is sitting. The reporter on the news gives a very detailed description of the escapee. The wife gets so scared that she quickly turns off the radio. She double-checks all the locks, but when she looks up, she sees the escapee just a few feet away from the car. When the man returns, he finds the car still all locked up, but his wife is nowhere to be seen. How is it possible? The answer is simple. The couple had been driving a convertible with the top down, and the woman wasn't, dare we say, terribly bright. An adventurer found a treasure chest in a cave that was guarded by a pirate. He had 3 keys, gold, silver, and black, but only one of them could open the chest. The pirate would give the adventurer only one chance to reach the treasure. If he chose the right key, he could take the chest. If he chose incorrectly, the pirate would attack him. Arr! The only clue was this cipher. Which is the right key? The cipher is an anagram. Shuffle the letters a bit and you'll get the golden key. The adventurer went away unscathed, and the pirate was left frustrated and treasureless.
Hey, my dear detective, are you ready for a nice brain workout? Great, then let's get started.
Yeah.
William decided to go on vacation for a month. He went to a bank and asked for a loan of $500. The bank officer told the guy that the loan could only be approved if he mortgaged some valuables at the bank. William said he would mortgage his car, whose worth was a whopping $80,000. The bank officer was surprised, but he approved the loan instantly. After William's vacation was over, he came back to the bank. The bank officer asked him why he had mortgaged such an expensive car for such a small loan. William told him the reason, and the bank officer admitted it was a very clever plan. What did William say? The guy said that he mortgaged his car to keep his expensive vehicle safe while he was away. Plus, he saved a lot of money on parking. Miranda is practicing her dance steps together with her friends. In a particular sequence, all of them form a row. At that point, Miranda is the fourth from either side of the row. Can you figure out how many girls are practicing together? In total, there are 7 girls. Miranda is the fourth from either end of the row, which means there are 3 girls on one of her sides and 3 on the other. Ethan and his girlfriend took a flight to New York and reached their destination in 2.5 hours. After spending some quality time together, they flew back home. Surprisingly, this time it took them 150 minutes, even though the plane flew at the same speed. How is it possible? It's easy. 2.5 hours are the same as 150 minutes. Look at this matchstick arrangement. Do you see a donkey-shaped figure? Your task is to move just one matchstick to change the direction of its movement. That's how you can do it. 4 men can build 4 tables in 4 hours. In this case, how many tables will 8 men build in 8 hours? Was your first instinct to say 8 tables? Because that's what immediately came to my mind. But in fact, the correct answer is 16 tables. And it actually makes sense, because 8 men worked twice as long as 4 men. Look at these people attentively. Who do you think is in greater danger? The lion won't necessarily attack the man, of course, if he doesn't provoke the animal. If the guy tries his best to look unthreatening, the lion might simply ignore him. But the snake can easily tighten its grip, which can end very badly for this woman. Mark came to visit his friends in Chicago. While they were having dinner, they told the guy about a mysterious building in their city. It had a very bad reputation. People said that those who once entered it never came back. Despite his friends' warnings, Mark decided to explore the building. The place looked creepy, and soon the guy realized he was lost. Whatever he did, he couldn't spot the exit. Suddenly, he found himself in a large room. There were 4 doors in this room. Behind the first door, there was a mummy. Behind the second door, a vampire was hiding. The third door led to a den of a hungry wolf. And behind the fourth door, there was a ghost. Which door should Mark opt for to get out of the house unscathed? The mummy can potentially be very dangerous. The vampire behind the second door is also far from friendly. The wolf, especially hungry, can easily attack a person. At the same time, the ghost is relatively harmless. Mark should choose the fourth door. Now, look at this image. Can you figure out which man is the girl's husband? Have you noticed that the woman and the man on the right are wearing identical wedding rings? That's the clue we need. Marta got into a trap set by a powerful witch. The girl got locked in a jail cell, and the only thing that could help her escape was a special magic elixir. Marta found 3 jars. The liquid from the first one could turn her into a superwoman. The second jar contained the liquid that turned people into zombies, and if Marta drank the elixir from the third jar, she would turn into a vampire. The effect of each elixir could last for half an hour. Which of them should Marta drink? Marta should wait till the morning and drink the elixir from the third jar. Then she'd be able to turn into a bat and fly out that tiny window. Can you figure out which of these women is alive? It's the woman on the right. Unlike the lips of the other 2 girls, her lips are red and plump. Plus, her hair is still growing. If you watch a time-lapse of them lying there, you can notice that the length of her hair is changing. Poor people have it, but rich people need it. If you eat it, you won't survive. What is it? It's nothing. Now this next riddle is kind of funny. To solve it, you need to think outside the box. Why are all the rivers in the world rich? They have 2 banks. Now, did you get it right? Imagine you're running a marathon, and right before the finish line, you pass by the person who's running the second. What place are you in now? You're still in second place. You've been faster than the person in second place, but not first. I can sting without moving. I can poison without touching. I can bear the truth and the lies. You can't judge me by my size. What am I? A word. You measure its life in hours and minutes, and it serves you by expiring. It's quick when it's thin and slow when it's fat. Its biggest enemy is the wind. The longer it lives, the smaller it becomes. What is it? A candle. You probably know that ants move in groups. In one such group, there were 2 ants in front of the other 2 ants, 2 ants behind the other 2 ants, and 2 ants next to the other 2 ants. How many ants were there in the group? A small hint. You probably won't need your calculator to crack this riddle. Even if it may seem there were a lot of ants in the group, in reality, there were just 4. They simply stood in a square formation. Did you get it right? There are some flowers growing in the field and some bees flying over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? If all the bees land on all the flowers, one bee for a flower, one bee won't get a flower. If every 2 bees decide to share a flower, one flower will be left without a bee. How fast will you be able to find the answer? There are 4 bees and 3 flowers. Once, Mrs. Smith, Peter, Paul, and Patrick's mom heard a loud sound of shattering glass coming from the living room. She ran into the room and saw that her favorite vase was broken. She also spotted a football. She asked her sons what had happened, and each of them told her his own version of the accident. Peter said that Paul hadn't kicked the ball. He added that he knew for sure that Patrick had done this. Paul said that Patrick wasn't guilty. He also added that he hadn't finished his homework. And Patrick said that Paul had broken the vase, and he knew that for sure because Peter didn't play football at home. How could Mrs. Smith understand who broke the vase if the following is true? One boy lied in both of his statements. 2 boys told the truth. Now, have you noticed that only one of Paul's statements is related to the accident? The one in which he says that Patrick isn't guilty? What he says about his homework changes nothing. The first of Peter's statement contradicts Patrick's first words and vice versa. This means that it's impossible for both of them to tell the truth. Peter and Paul can't both tell the truth as Paul's words contradict Patrick's second phrase. That's why Patrick and Paul can't lie, meaning that Peter lied in both of his statements. This way, Paul has broken the vase.
Mark and Ben are waiting for the elevator. Mark has to go down to the first floor, and Ben's going to have some dinner up on the 10th. 2 elevators arrive at the same time, and they both get in different elevators. Well, one of them isn't too smart. Which one? It's Ben. He needs to go up, but his elevator's going down. You're chilling watching TV when you hear the doorbell. You aren't expecting anyone, but you go to the door anyway and open it. There's no one there, just a basket of candies and a letter. The letter says, "Dear Charlie, thank you very much for your help. I really like you and wanted to ask if you want to go out sometime. All my love, always." There's no name on the letter and you have no clue who it could be from. Luckily, there's a short little riddle. 3rd of August, 4th of February, 2nd of May, 3rd of December, 6th of October. Can you crack the code and find out who your secret admirer is? The 3rd of August means the 3rd letter in August, which is G. The 4th letter of February is R. The 2nd letter of May is A. The 3rd letter of December is C. And the 6th letter of October is E. So, your secret admirer's name is Grace. Do you even know anyone named Grace? You open your eyes and find yourself in a dungeon. There are a couple of torches around to light the room up a bit. You walk over to the door and try to open it. But, of course, it's locked. There's 3 buttons on the right side of the door, a red one, a purple one, and a yellow one. One of them will set you free, and the other 2 will lock you in forever. But you're lucky. There's a hint. NTEROWLUTPPB. Buy a vowel, will ya? Which button should you press to escape? If you put the letters in the right order, you'll get purple button. Since only one button opens the door and the other 2 trap you in, you gotta try your luck with the purple one. Jessie is a mom of 3 who works as a detective. She comes home late one night and goes right into the kitchen to get dinner ready. Waiting for her in there, a huge mess. Looks like someone already had their dinner, a chocolate pasta sandwich. She doesn't let her kids eat that kind of stuff. So she goes upstairs and rounds up all her kids. Katie, Serena, and Hannah are all busy doing their homework. They all deny eating chocolate pasta, but she still knows who it was. Who's lying, and how did Jessie know? Back in the kitchen, the knife's on the right-hand side of the chocolate pasta. That means the person who made the sandwich is left-handed. She has only one left-handed kid, and that's Hannah. You get lost in the forest, and you end up wandering around the whole day. Finally, at sunset, you come across a small and spooky house. Looks like a witch lives there. You have no other choice, so you go in and ask her to show you the way out of this crazy forest. The witch agrees, but on one condition. You have to play a game. If you answer correctly, she lets you go. If you make a mistake, you have to stay with her forever. Here's the question. You have something that's yours. You barely use it, but others use it a lot. What is it? It's your name. You're abroad, enjoying the sun and a much-needed vacation. One day at the beach, you meet a beautiful woman and spend the whole day with her. In the evening, you ask her if you can meet again tomorrow. She smiles and says yes, if you can guess where she comes from. But she really likes you, so she gives you a hint. The place I'm from is 2 of Armenia, 1 of Germany, 2 of England, 1 of Turkey, 2 of India, and 1 of Australia. Can you guess where she's from? Two of Armenia means you have to take the first 2 letters of the name Armenia, A-R. The rest are the same. 1 of Germany is G, 2 of England is E-N, 1 of Turkey is T, I-N from India, and A from Australia. Together, they make Argentina. That was a lot of work. She better be worth it. You're wandering in a different forest and you come across a picnic. They're all witches. You try to hide before they notice you, but uh-oh. What do they want? Actually, they're pretty chill. They just need a little help. There are 8 of them, and one of them celebrating her 999th birthday. They've got a birthday cake, but there's a problem. And no, it's not that there's too many candles and too little cake. Their magic knife can only make 3 cuts, and they can't figure out how to cut the cake into 8 pieces. Can you figure it out? First, cut the cake in half. Then make another cut so there are 4 equal pieces. Now, cut the cake sideways through the middle so it has 2 layers. Now, everybody gets a piece. Helena finally got herself a new guitar. She wanted to play it right away, but she had school. She locked it in her room and left. When she got home that evening, the guitar was gone. Her family was kind of fun. They were always pulling pranks on each other. She asked everyone about her guitar. Here's what they said. Her mom said she hadn't even seen the guitar. Her dad said he saw it when he walked past her room, but then he didn't go in because he had a lot of work to do. Her brother said he was at home, but spent the whole day downstairs. Helena solved the mystery instantly. Can you figure it out? Her dad's lying. He said he saw the guitar while walking past her room, but that would be impossible. She locked the door on her way out. Mrs. Miller left the house and put a $100 bill in the dining room for her son. But the son said he never saw the money. There were 3 other people in the house that morning: Stephen, the gardener, Bill, the cook, and Molly, the housemaid. Steve said he saw the money, but he's an honest man. He'd never take it. Bill said he spent the morning in the kitchen and didn't see the money at all. Molly said she had to open the kitchen window but didn't want the bill to fly away. So she put it in this book between pages 35 and 36. Can you tell who's lying? Molly is. She couldn't have put the money between pages 35 and 36. They're two sides of the same page. Kevin's a single father of 4. He was working late one evening and got a call from a neighbor. The neighbor just saw one of his daughters walking around with her friends in a totally different neighborhood. It was dark, so the neighbor couldn't tell which daughter it was. When Kevin came back home, he asked his daughters which one of them was out after dark. Lily said she was reading all evening. Madison said she was playing Uno. Riley said she was in the backyard in the pool. Ava said she was talking to a friend in her room. Kevin immediately knew who was lying. Do you? It was Madison. She couldn't have been playing Uno by herself. She's hiding something. Josh was walking in a forest at night and came across an old castle. He was curious, so he found a way in and started walking down a corridor. Pretty soon, he met 3 people. They said they were 2 werewolves and a vampire. They wanted to keep Josh in there forever, but in the end decided to give him one chance to get away. He had to guess who the vampire was. He was allowed to ask the same question to each of them as long as it wasn't, "Are you a vampire?" Josh asked, "What's your eye color?" Why did he ask it, and how would that even help him? Vampires don't have a reflection in the mirror and don't show up in photos. The vampire probably wouldn't know what color eyes it had. Bonus time! Can you think of any other question that Josh could have asked those 3 guys? How well do you know